Time for another coffee with Kilroy. Got my drink. And I am moving it out of the way because today we've got a lot to unpack. We are continuing my coverage of Fire and Movement magazine, the Forum of Conflict Simulation. I'm up to number 53. Well, I don't have all of them, but I am trying to go in order. And today, the special report is Squad Leader, 10 years after. Yes, this is May, June 1987, as we can see right there. So we're 10 years after Squad Leader. So that's the big thing to talk about in here, and also the development of tactical systems, which I know a little bit about, or at least did an article on that, and I'll put a link to my article in the description down below as well. It's also on my cover page. But a couple big things here. The big one is Squad Leader, but there's the other one is, well, we'll get to that when we get in here. So let's flip through here. This is number 53 again, 1987. We got an ad for Avalon Hill here. Here are the contents. You got the cover, Squad Leader, Terrible Swift Sword, and the Great Battles of the American Civil War. That's the second big thing I wanted to cover. This is Terrible Swift Sword is kind of the beginning of the Great Battles of American Civil War. It's come a long way. It's evolved, and I think it still has its core. It owes a lot to Terrible Swift Sword and these earlier battles or editions. However, editions of games. However, it's changed a little bit. And currently it's under GMT and has quite a following and quite an assortment of games. And one of my, in my opinion, kind of the go-to tactical system to look at. So we'll take a brief look at that. Then we got a computer profile here because Fire and Movement was all about not only war games and board games, but also their computer their translations to computers as well. So here's SSI, a computer wargaming company, Think or Sync. Okay, some of the usual offerings in here. Again, don't want to spend too much time because I want to get to the meaty stuff, which is Squad Leader. Europa, this is the Europa system. The only one I have of this is Europa 4, which is Narvik. I really didn't get into this system that much, but I know there are some people that this is the gold standard for them. Now we're going to get into the Great Battle series passes in review, and so they're talking a little bit about the great battles of the American Civil War as it existed in 1987, which again I think it's different today. I haven't done a full comparison of that. I bet Stigler could probably do that if called upon. But this kind of gives you an overview, the sequence of play, and some of the issues with it, or some of the game mechanics that it has. Then it takes a second look at Terrible Swift Sword, which is kind of the beginning of this whole series, and it's a Richard Berg design. And this would actually, I remember seeing this in advertisements in several magazines, and wherever I looked, I saw an advertisement for this, and it was kind of, it was, in my opinion, one of the first monster games that I saw, and I was like, wow, I want to get that, but is it too much for me? And I never picked it up. So, maybe I'll pick it up. It's kind of expensive these days to find an old one here. Here's the gamography of the Great Battles of the American Civil War, again, as it stands up to 1986. We'll do a little close-up of that one so you can see what's going on here. Starting with the Terrible Swift Sword, and then coming up to, Pleasant Hill here. And the second edition of Terrible Swift Sword in 86 as well. So interesting. P Ridge, which is right down the road from me, and I've actually done a full walkthrough of that, so I'll put a link to that as well. And Wilson Creek, which again, that's even closer to me, and I've yet to do a walkthrough of that. So shame on me. So this is still talking about the great battles. Then we're getting to some other stuff here. The Great Invasion, Clash of Armies. This is a game by Clash of Arms, and talking a little bit about that. I'm not as familiar with that one, but they've several pages on that. So if you're interested in that, this is the article to probably pick it up, or heck, just pick up the game, right? Viceroys and Fortress America. Some talk about that, right? And again, this is 1987. Glory Road. Pentagon Games. So this is some player notes here. You have Europe at War. President's Secrets Wars. Looks like that's a book. Central America over here. Oh, so I got to go back out a little bit. I was in close, and so you missed some of that stuff. Sorry about that. I don't know if you missed anything too big there. Anyway, now we're to the pièce de résistance, the main course, the history of tactical games, 20 years later and 10 years after Squad Leader. So it's really going over. I wish they had this article. I wish I had this magazine when I did my article, which was kind of a geek list on Board Game Geek. Again, I'll put a link to that, where I kind of try to trace the whole history of small unit tactical, which I define as platoon on down. So platoon, squad, and individual games that focus on that. So I haven't double checked to see if my research and homework matches up with this article, but now that I have this, I will do that. There's also a scenario in here. So these are the little bit thicker mounted mat, or not really mounted, but player aid quality materials for the scenario that's in here. We'll see that here in a second. And there's some more articles on the inside of this. I found that kind of interesting, that there's articles on the inside of this map, or these maps. So, but it's all continuing on in the Squad Leader, talking about Squad Leader. So, again, this issue is really dedicated to Squad Leader. Then we have the evolution of Squad Leader, and which, I've shown you, I've got Crescendo of Doom and Cross of Iron, but here is my Squad Leader, tightly packed. I have it all bagged. I used to have these in boxes. I used to keep these counters in like Avon boxes. My mom used to buy Avon, and I used to keep all the little counters in those little boxes, but they didn't store well back in the box. So anyway, I put it in here. I have all my stuff between this and Crescendo, Doom, and Cross of Iron, as far as the counters and maps and rules and all that stuff. Also have Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit 1. That's the only one I picked up of these starter kits. I thought about getting kind of back into Squad Leader a little bit, but I haven't really done Squad Leader justice. I need to probably play that a little bit more. But here is the evolution right there, as you can see, starting with 1969, and this kind of tracks some of my research on my what I call the evolution of the small unit tactical games. Again, I'll put a link to that article, but here coming up to 1977 when Squad Leader came out. So we've got a little bit of stuff there, and I'll take a picture and put this at the end if you want to see that a little bit clearer. A little bit more about Squad Leader and its evolution. They've got these different sections: end of a first era, the commandments of playability. That's always a struggle or a issue with Squad Leader, especially Advanced Squad Leader. Is it really playable? Have we sacrificed playability for realism? I put that in quotes here. And here's the gameography of tactical simulations. Again, I wish I'd had this when I did my geek list way back when, but this has a lot of good information in here, talking about the date and the publisher and the topic and unit size and all this good stuff here. So I'm going to spend more time with this. I'll also take a picture of this and put this towards the end if you want to see that up close and personal. But that's the reason I picked this one up from my friendly local gaming store, which had several of these fire movements on sale, because I wanted to spend some time looking over this. But that's after I get off this video with you guys. Continuing on, this is really the feature article. Everything is, well, not everything, as you saw, there's other stuff in here, but a lot of this is Squad Leader. Now we're getting into Advanced Squad Leader, and again, my only foray into that is the starter kit here. Cutting it off so you can't see it there. So I might have cut off Squad Leader too, because I'm zooming in and out like a madman. So there's Squad Leader right there. And so we're getting into Advanced Squad Leader here. And then we have this scenario. This is for Squad Leader. Yes, this is a Squad Leader scenario. So I might make a copy of this and shove it in my Squad Leader box, or at least where I keep all my scenarios, because this does look interesting here. And that's really the big thing I wanted to go into. The rest of it is normal fare. Here's Game Master Series. I ended up picking up Kusa, I think, is the second or third or fourth edition of Shogun. Interesting. I have Fortress America, but I have the Fantasy Flight version of Fortress America. Here's Russia, a breakthrough or just another step closer. See what they did there. Okay. And so, large article on that. And yeah, the rest of it is standard fare. Oh, Supremacy. Here's another thing to talk briefly about. I loved Risk. I played a lot of Risk as a Ute, and but then graduated into Squad Leader and Panzer Leader and Panzer Blitz and all these other war games. And so, but I always had my eye out for this. And every time I'd go to a complete strategist, whether I was in New York or DC or wherever I was hanging out those days, I'd always look and see they always had a Supremacy there, but I was always kind of waiting. Do I want to get it? Do I want to get it? And plus it had some expansions and modules and stuff. And I always passed on it because I thought, I just don't need it. It's just basically Risk on steroids. And I heard a lot of bad things about it, that it was kind of hard to play because it had so many different rules and expansions that it wasn't your grandfather's Risk anymore. But anyway, so there's an article on Supremacy. I'll definitely take a look at that and see what I missed all those many years ago. I guess I can always pick it up now, right? Here's World Wargaming Championships. Here's a game rating chart. This is something I might want to take a look at. This is as of 1987. Here's an order form, and there you have it. That is issue number 53, May, June 1987 of Fire and Movement. The only other thing I think I saw in here with a little bit of interest was maybe it's not in here. I thought I saw a little bit of a rating or something from maybe it was another issue I was looking at of some games from '87. No, it was the next issue. Oh, spoiler alert! The next one I'm going to cover in this series talks about some of the best games of around and some of the best issues of Fire and Movement, and they listed this one as their best issue of Fire and Movement. I don't know what the time period on that, but I think this is a good one. There's a lot of good tactical information about tactical games and the development of and the evolution of those games. So I'm interested in this, and I'm glad you spent some time with me taking a look at it. Take care. Thanks for watching.